Alright guys, Hayzink here, welcome back to the channel for another Street Fighter Duel video. So in this one I am going to be running through my support tier list. Units who I think are actually the top supports in the game. And I've realised right now that I need to add Oni into this pool of characters, so I'll do that in a minute, don't worry about it. But for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this a little bit less messy because obviously we've got a collage of units all the way around here, and I'm going to make a cut in this video and I'm going to put the trash on the board because the trash don't really need me to talk about them. I'll throw them all on the board and then I'll explain why I class them as trash, and then we'll move on and actually start talking about the units who merit some discussion. Right, so this first batch needs some explaining. On our D tier we've basically got units who I just think are bad for assists, plain and simple. I don't think their assists are great and they deserve to be bottom of the pile. C tier is a mixture, right? C tier is either units that have either a low probability of triggering their assists, so like a 15% chance, a 20% chance, something like that, right? Also, we've got on here units like Elena and T-Hawk who are very specific and very niche, who you're only going to really use in very specific fights. With Elena, hers requires removal of buffs to even trigger, removal of status effects or debuffs or whatever to trigger, and she is probably the unit you would run to remove status effects or debuffs, so you're not going to see it very often. The other units are units who, like Dante and also Adon, who don't even trigger their buffs until a unit dies, right? Sorry, their assists until a unit dies. Ideally, you're going to want to run assists on your team who prevent units from dying, right? So that is why these units are here, right? So D tier, trash, I wouldn't even bother using them. C tier, it is mainly because they either, one, are too niche in my opinion, they require someone to die before they even do anything, or they have a very low probability of even triggering their assist skill. That is why these units are in the C and D tier. Now I'm going to quickly throw up the B tier and then I'll go through the A and the S tier. This is just a way I'm doing this to cut the length of this video down, right? Okay, so this tier's a little bit more contentious. The B tier, I wouldn't strictly say any of these units are necessarily bad as such, apart from Judy. I mean, to be honest, I've never been really crazy on Judy for being an assist, but she can be useful, right? I just don't think she's crazy. The other units on here, like for example Dudley, he does boost dodge, right? But to really get the most out of him, you've got a very small window, and in that window you need a unit who's probably liable to dodge anyway, so maybe someone like Dante to actually get the most of him. I think he's quite niche. For the other units like Sagat and Poison, they only work under specific circumstances, like you have to use it on a support a unit who gives thunder damage or shock or whatever. I just think units like that are far too niche to actually be considered top level when it comes to supports. Now the next ones I'm going to throw up here are going to be Virgil, who I'm going to put in A. I'm also going to put Bison in A, much for the same reason. These two units are the type of units who in an absolute pinch can help you with survivability. They can basically stop you from dying and just basically extend how long you can go in the battle, basically. The same thing would be said about Fashion Sakura. She can basically prevent critical or fatal, not critical, fatal damage, right? Which again for me is enough to put her into at least A tier, because she is going to allow you to keep going in a fight, which is also pretty good. Now we've got the twins. They are going to go into A tier simply because both of them can provide you with super gauge, and super gauge is pretty good for me. It's enough to put them up in the A tier. Again guys, I just want to point something out. I probably wouldn't run anyone on here apart from these two guys. In circumstantial situations you might run these two guys, but you'll probably find most of the characters who you're going to run more often will be in the S tier rank, okay? For pure damage, I would probably put Ryu and the other Ryu up here. Both of these guys will give you extra damage if you've got them on support. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I think that's pretty decent, and it is the type of thing you would want to have on a pardon me, on a unit who you are going to put on maybe somebody like Bison. If you're talking about Mad Ryu, someone like Akuma, if you're talking about Evil Ryu, they can be very good for that type of thing. Now, on the B tier, I did specifically talk about units who were only triggered under very specific circumstances, like thunder damage or flame damage or whatever. This unit, I suppose, does fall into that category. I kind of want to put him here though, like just between the A and the S, because it's not... the things that he's giving you are what you really want, you know. He gives you a damage bonus and he also gives you a speed bonus as well. So those two things, I think, are enough to elevate him just above a standard A tier, but not quite enough to put him on S tier. So I'm going to put him on A+, and that is Fashion Ken, sorry. I probably should have thought that out better and maybe put him on there after I'd done these guys, but you know what, who cares. Same thing goes for Goken. Goken is a bit boring for a support, but the two things that he gives you is, I believe, damage reduction and crit rate damage. Those are two things that I think is enough to merit him going on to the A+, but not quite S bracket in my opinion. Now again, this one might be a little bit contentious, people might not agree with it, but I actually think Zangief goes in the S tier. For me, all day long, Zangief goes in the S tier, and I think Honda, while he's good, I don't think he comes even close to the level of Zangief, so I'm going to put him into the A tier, okay? Another one, Decapre, she's actually really good for support. I'd put her onto the A tier. She will help you out, and she has got that execute ability, which is pretty decent. We've also got our boy Dudley here, the charming Dudley. He's pretty good. He does that Black Mark Rose thing, which is pretty good. I think he is someone who is deserving of being in the A tier when it comes to your supports. The new girl, her lifesteal is fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic. She's a great unit to have on support. She's actually helped me in quite a lot of builds to push on a bit, and I think she's very, very good. While I think he's a one-trick pony because he just gives you a bit of speed at the start of the battle, I do think that speed can be pivotal to some of your team builds. So we're going to put Beast Zangief on to the A tier. While I don't use it as much anymore, I would say that Rose is someone who deserves to go onto the S tier still, because I think her tarot card ability is very, very good to have on like support. Another two easy S tier units for support would be our man Mayor Corey, who gives you increased damage when you've got like a duel. It will happen automatically if you're doing it in a boss fight. You'll notice it's very, very good. And Fei Long, who gives increased flame damage to the entire party as long as he's alive. So you'll often see people put him onto Bison so that he stays alive, and they run him on a team with someone like Dalsim, someone like Fashion Blanca, and he really makes the numbers kind of go through the roof, which makes a massive difference to your scores in a lot of events. Now, while I don't think it's necessarily amazing, I do think Akuma is fairly decent when it comes to support. I'd probably actually put him around about B+, if I'm being honest. It is nice that he does this little bit of flame damage that is an AoE, albeit a small AoE, but you don't have many AoE support units, so I do think that is something that is pretty good with him. You've also got Guy as well, who can help you out. He can do a bit of damage, but you do need to kill someone first with the unit that's supported before you'll even see Guy. I think it's enough to stop him going up to the A tier, but again, it's enough to put him above the B tier in my honest, unbiased opinion, because I don't really have any strong feelings towards Guy. So while it's not fantastic or anything like that, I think it's enough to at least put him on to B+. I'm going to put DJ here. DJ's got a skill where, an assist, sorry, where he'll give units a shield that's like equal to 100% of his attack, and he'll also give them crit resistance, 10%, while the shield is active. This is the slight type of thing that could maybe help you to survive a little bit. Would I necessarily run him before anyone above him? No, I wouldn't, you know, which is ultimately what stops him going any higher, you know. I think with Dalsim as well, I'm really hesitant about putting Dalsim here. I kind of want to put him here or here, but I think just for being nice to Dalsim, I'll put him onto the B+ tier. I don't think he's quite an A tier unit, but I think I'd be maybe a bit mean to him if I put him lower. But then at the same time, if I put him there, I feel like I need to put Viper there. Do you know what? We'll just do that. We'll do that. We'll put him there. I'm a bit about that. Both of these units could easily go down one, in my opinion, you know. But again, I think I'm just going to throw out the easy S tier units just now. The Able could potentially be one of the best supports in the game, if not the best support in the game. It's fantastic. Honestly, Able is just absolutely fantastic when it comes to support in this game. When it comes to support as well, for trigger units, you do not get better than our girl Cammy. Cammy is just absolutely fantastic. For me, she 90% of the time ends up partnered with Monster Hunter Ken. I feel like Cammy, when it comes to Monster Hunter Ken, she's just the perfect partner for him. Another unit that's a kind of, I say, a partnership deal kind of thing is Fashion Chun, or Flame Chun. She is a great unit for helping out your flame units, so units like Dalsim, units like Fashion Blanca. She's going to do a lot to help those units out. Then you've got Poison. Poison is going to boost crit rate damage to the unit that she is supporting, as long as you're fighting one unit. So having her on a team where you are fighting maybe a boss, that is going to be ideal for you. Gen's a funny one. Gen's a unit who, honestly, I would have probably ranked this guy lower previously, but since we've started to have units in boss fights that target the back enemy quite a lot, I find myself using Gen quite a lot, just simply to have a decoy at the back, which is essentially taking the damage that is being dished out by the boss. So it stops the back unit from dying, and it is allowing basically Gen's decoy to take that damage. In circumstances like that, I would put him up here, right? But obviously this is supposed to be a wee bit more well-rounded, so I think I would put him onto the A+ tier. Again, guys, this is just my opinion. If you don't agree with it, that's fine, but I think I could make the argument to put him on S, but I'm going to put him on A+, just because I feel like he is situational. Now, people might be surprised at this, but I actually quite like Monster Hunter Ken when it comes to support. His Dragon Rage Curse, as long as you don't remove it, it does quite a lot. It takes a decent amount of HP off the enemy. It does other things as well, like damage reduction. I think that overall, they also do less damage as well. So they take more damage and they do more damage. The thing is, they can remove it, so you just need to know when to time it and stuff like that. As long as you do that right, you can see really good results from him as a support unit. I do think he's really good, and you know, I don't really have any problems about putting him here. Actually, do you know what? Now that I'm looking at this, I feel like I need to move this line up a wee bit. And I feel like I need to put these guys onto A+. I feel like I need to put those two, and do you know what? I even feel like I need to put her on A+, because literally these three units can stop you from dying in a different way, but these three units can stop you from dying. These two will literally just stop you taking a fatal blow. She will stop you taking a blow that will take your entire HP away from you, and she'll do it multiple times, whereas these guys will do it once. So maybe she's actually better than these two when it comes to support, but I think putting them on flat A would be a little bit of a bad move, so I'm going to upgrade them to A+. I'm quite happy with that now. I'm not going to change that again. Then we've got Diviner Rose. The Diviner Rose gives you Spark. Spark will give you a little bit of extra gauge every time you're hit. I mean, in some fights that could be fantastic, in other fights it could just not be great for you at all. It just really depends what you're fighting. So, I mean, she could easily go in either of these three spots depending on the situation. So, obviously if you take an average of those, she would go here, and that's where we're going to put her. We're going to put her right into the middle. Now, again, opinion based, but I think he's pretty good on support. He gives you that, I can't remember what they call it, but it's like his thing, what is it? Not parry, but whatever his skill is, his demon power skill thing, and it basically gives you buffs to your stats. It helps you do more damage and stuff like that, so I like him. I like him. I find he's pretty useful. I find that you can actually see the buffs happening with this guy. You can see it making a difference, and I quite like him. I think he is good for support. Not that it matters to most of you guys, because if you're free to play, you won't have him. If you've not got him, then it's really not going to be a concern to you, because as a legendary unit, it's not exactly a unit you're going to stumble across. You're either going to have them or you're not going to have them, and really it is simple as that, you know. Elena, I don't know why I've taken so long to actually decide on Elena. I don't think Elena's that great on support, to be honest. There's no way I would run her before anyone else on this list, and I feel like putting her there is actually completely fine. I've got no issues with that at all. In fact, in some ways, maybe you could argue that she could go lower, but maybe I'm just being picky because I think she's a unit I'd much rather see on a team than sitting on support for a team, okay? Now, Yang is kind of the same as Elena. He is someone I think you'd be much better putting on a team. However, 400% shield is, when taking crit damage, is better than 8% healing, in my opinion. So I think he will naturally sit just a little bit higher than Elena, and I'm going to put him on the B+ tier. From there, we've got Chun-Li, two Chun-Lis actually. We've got Standard Chun and we've got Athlete Chun. So the question is, where do these guys go? I mean, Chun is pretty boring, right? But at the same time, she does give you increased crit rate. Increased crit rate can be important. Do you know what? I feel like the way I've judged other units, I need to put her on B+. I think putting her any higher than B+ would be slightly unfair to the units that we've already graded and put onto this list. So I'm quite happy to put her onto the B+ tier, even though maybe you could argue she could go higher. It kind of puts me in the spot though where I need to... No, I'm going to put her in B. I'm going to put her in... No, I'm going to put her here, actually. Because she will just flat out give you that crit rate damage boost, right? I will put her here though. Because she will get... Sorry, crit rate boost for Chun. She will also give you crit rate boost, but only if your speed is faster. Which means Chun will do what she does, but better, because you've not got that caveat of needing to have more speed, basically. So yeah, I think I'm quite happy to put Summer Ibuki onto B tier, and we'll leave Chun on the B+ tier. I think that works out pretty well. I've not really got any complaints there with that one. So the second to last unit is, we are going to go with Athlete Chun-Li. Where would I put Athlete Chun? I mean, I think because Athlete Chun is one of those units that acts when anyone's hit, so she kind of assists the full team even though she's sitting on one unit specifically. I feel like I would be remiss not to put her on the A tier. Now, I know that looks like I've put her onto A+, but I haven't. I've put her onto the A tier. I feel like she's okay going there. I mean, you could maybe even argue... No, in fact, you know what? I'm going to put her in A+. I am going to put her in A+, because in a lot of ways, she is a unit who is going to help the entire team. A bit like Abel, although not as good as Abel. She does something completely different to Abel, right? Don't get me wrong. But the fact is, she will heal different people within the team, even though she's not sitting on that unit specifically. I feel like that does make a difference to how I would grade the unit, and I think putting her into the A+ tier is absolutely fine. So the last one is our new boy. It's going to be Oni, and where would we put Oni on this list? So Oni makes it that if you're killing enemies, the person he's assisting is getting stronger. They're getting increased damage bonus and increased crit rate. And if your team is dying, he's boosting their damage. Which means if you put him on someone like Bison, who's killing people all the time, and who's often the last person to die, he's going to make that unit absolutely pop off. So even though he is quite specific in the fact that he's going to function on some units better than others, I'm going to put Oni into the S tier. That's it. That's it. That is my new updated support tier list. I know my tier list system looks like some kind of goddamn cryptic maze you've got to follow about, but you've got your S, your A+, your A, your B+, your B, your C, and your D. I'm happy with that. I've given you my reasons behind it. If you don't agree with it, touch grass. I'm kidding on. If you don't agree with it, comment down below, right? But no, I'm happy with that. I like that. Yeah, I like that. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I've been Hayzink, thanks for watching, catch you in the next one. Peace.